No one is judged more than a woman who loves a man who can't show up for her. This is ancient, and there are real, very survival based reasons behind it. So let's get into it. Welcome to Yarrow K Way of healing, expanding, spiritually transforming, and mastering energetics. I am your host, Yarrow K, with my sweet cat Aslan, who wants to be a part of all the things. Leadership mentor, nervous system genius, clinically trained therapist, spiritual teacher, and all around energetic sorceress, which just means I'm a master of energetics. Everything is energy. Your energetic vibration creates your life, and your energetic vibration is created through the state of your nervous system. So, whatever your nervous system feels is safe, is what your nervous system will allow you to compose or create in your life. You are the composer of your life, but you may not know that. You may not feel safe to be that. And that will simply keep you stuck, ruminating, obsessing, worrying, fretting, grasping on, seeking saving, seeking validation, and seeking outside of you. And one of the ways that women do this the most is through their relationship with men. Now, let's dive into this. This story is so old. A woman loves a man, he can't show up, and then she either shames herself or everyone else shames her, or both, right? It becomes this projecting, blaming, criticizing, and judging game. It's like, how could I love this man? He did these things to me. How could I feel this way about this man when he does this? How could I allow this behavior? I must not feel worthy. Or your friends are like, well, you should just block him because if he wanted to, he would. Or all of the stories that come up, right? Like, oh, he's doing all these things. This is your worthiness wound. This is your abandonment wound. This is your rejection wound. This is your wounded self. You don't actually love him. Now, here's where it gets tricky because we actually do have to be able to discern between attachment and love because those are different things. This is one of my zones of genius. I can feel into the energetic vibration of you and your relationship and your connection, and I can feel, is this real or is this just you attaching? And so often we are just attaching. But then so many other times we're not. And we have an alchemical relationship that is actually meant to transform us at the deepest of levels, but we have to feel safe to allow it to. Now, what do I mean by that? This means by allowing yourself to love someone even if or even when they can't show up for you. Your love is not dependent upon them being able to create a life and a relationship with you. I'm going to say that again. Your love is not dependent upon them being able to create a relationship or a life with you. Now, how you relate to this matters. If you hold on, if you grasp on, if you think your life is over without them, that is work for you to do. That is inner work for you to do. That's your inner child who's grasping on, who's holding on, who's wanting to be saved, who needs attunement. And what does attunement mean? Attunement and love are different things. Attunement means you need to find where she lives in your body and hold her and be with her and see her and give her the love and the childhood she did not receive. Peter Levine, Dr. Peter Levine, who created somatic experiencing, said, you're never too old to have the childhood you deserved. And so when your inner child is running the show and you're literally going to feel like you're going to die, you're going to feel like you're going to die and you're grasping on to this man. Let's talk about this. This is important shit right here. Like, really important. Women for thousands of years have been dependent upon a man for literal survival. You couldn't own land, you couldn't make money. So, what happens in your nervous system? Oh, this makes me teary. What happens in your nervous system? You feel like you need a man. And if you don't have a man, you're going to die. Now, this is not always conscious. A lot of this is unconscious. And so then what will happen is you, little tiny sweet you, will chase after these men because you will feel like if I'm not wanted, I'm not worthy of life. You sit with that. If I'm not wanted, I'm not worthy of life. Now, a lot of this is unconscious. Like you might consciously be thinking, no, I'm fine. I don't need him. But yet there's that sneaky, subtle part of you that's wanting to grasp on, that's wanting to hold on, that's projecting, that's blaming, that's making him wrong because he can't show up, right? Because when relationship with a man becomes about survival, then love becomes a luxury and we lose connection from what it is to love. And when a woman is connected to love, To true, actual love, she can transform worlds. When she's disconnected from it, she will destroy them. And love and attachment are different things. Being able to discern between those two will ask you to get beyond your conditioning, your trauma, your nervous system dysregulation, your beliefs, and the need for someone to show up in order to validate your worth. That's a lot of things. That's a lot of things you have to get through to actually connect to your true heart and to love, because love is freedom. And when I say when a woman's love can transform worlds, what I mean by that is when a woman is connected to actual love, to true embodied love, she is able to let a man go without criticizing, talking shit, berating, or judging him. When I was 24, a man and I fell in love at first sight, and we were not together for reasons that I will not talk about here. But he eventually ended up leaving without saying goodbye. He told me we weren't going to be together. There was a very legitimate reason for it. And yet he told me he might leave without saying goodbye. But then he said he wouldn't. And then he did. And I was destroyed. And my abandonment wound got activated. This man's love brought me back to myself. Now, I want you to listen to how many layers there are to this. This man's love, our love together, brought me back to myself. I, at the time, was like sleeping with this other man who I was learning about my sexuality with. Like, it was like a very deep relationship with him. I was exploring, experimenting. It was super powerful. It had run its course. And then when I looked in this other man's eyes, I felt like I was being met by an archangel while I was sleeping with the devil. I am not religious. I don't actually, this is just like, it felt out of alignment. And it was a joke I came up with, right? It was like really funny. I'd like walk in and I'd see him and I'd be like, oh my goodness, I feel all good and pure. And then I had just slept with that other man and I'd be like, ugh, it feels gross. Like I should not be doing that. It had run its course. There was nothing wrong with the relationship that I was in with that other man, but also I was very clear the entire time I was sleeping with that man. This is a relationship that's teaching me about myself. This is not based upon love. This is not based upon partnership. And then when this other man and I fell in love, it was like I was brought back to myself. We ultimately weren't meant to be together, but when he left, it catalyzed within me for two things: the truth of who I am and the dedication to myself. Secondly, my deep abandonment wound that stemmed from childhood, but I believe we are birthed into this life with specific lessons to transform, to catalyze, to help others, to help guide others to that place as well. So mine was a huge abandonment wound. And abandonment wounds are complicated because they don't always look like they quote unquote should. Like you could actually have had your father your entire life and still have an abandonment wound because you felt emotionally abandoned. And mine has been wrapped up with judgment, with making myself special, with pedestaling myself. Like there are so many different layers to the abandonment wound that I'm not going to break into today. When you're in my group programs, I talk about all of these different nuances because we literally all are unique. We all have different coding energetically. We all have different lessons and we all have different ways that these things show up. Say that again. We all have different ways that these things show up. And so for me, this catalyzed my abandonment when I was like, oh, let's heal this. Also, let's dedicate to myself. Like, I already knew because I downloaded Enlightenment on the Dance Floor of a Rave at 19, and I knew it all comes back to connection to me. But I'm a human, right? So, like, staying there, having the staying power to stay there felt hard, especially because I felt pretty isolated. And so, I was exploring, I was experimenting, and this love with this man brought me back to me again in a deeper way. That's not the first time, it's not the last time that this would happen. It would happen again and again and again and again. But I went to a therapist, and when I was telling the therapist about what had happened, he said, oh, he's such a cad, which I actually at the time didn't even know what that meant. And I had to look it up. And I was like, oh, I felt defensive for this man because I loved him. And it wasn't helpful for me to speak badly about him. That wasn't going to help me shift what was happening for me. And this is what we do when a woman loves a man who can't show up, because all of us have this condition in us like, a woman can't exist without a man, she will die. That unconsciously lives in our DNA and our cells and our nervous systems and our wiring. And we tell that story consciously or unconsciously. And so when a woman loves a man who can't show up, we don't hold her in the love. We don't have the power to hold her in her divinity while she holds that man in his divinity. And this is something I have embodied in this last couple of years to really be able to hold love for and hold myself in my divinity while holding the man I love in his divinity. And it doesn't always look like it should. And it takes next levels of personal power and nervous system safety to be able to hold that vibration of divine love. I am the embodiment of unconditional love, and I guide you to be that as well. Everything I've said, think about everything I've said, all the conditioning we have that inhibits us from actually coming from love, from coming from personal power, from coming from truth, from coming from wisdom. So much little girl energy, right? Like, well, he didn't text me this, or he didn't do that, or he didn't show up this way, or I shouldn't feel this way about him. He's not good enough for me. Like, those are all ego responses, little girl responses, inner child energetic responses. None of those are embodied woman responses. An embodied woman response was, this isn't in alignment with me, but I still love you, but this doesn't work for me. I love you and you need your freedom, so I'm going to let you go free. And I'm going to hold that love in my heart. And how long that love stays in my heart, like I always will love forever, but is that meant to come back to me? That's also not for me to know. It's not for you to know. Your work is to go, what am I learning here? What's transforming through me? What's alchemizing through me? Where am I still giving into this very old narrative that a woman needs a man to survive? Consciously or unconsciously? Where am I shaming myself for my very real feelings? I had a client once and she had feelings for a guy who was an alcoholic and she kept saying, but he's this, but he's that, but he's da da da. I'm like, it doesn't matter. You have feelings for him. So we have to address the feelings and whatever is supposed to be working through you and what he's doing actually doesn't matter. She ended up birthing a beautiful program called Come Home to Yourself about healing anxious attachment through her feelings for this man. And then they developed a really beautiful friendship on the other side because they weren't meant to be together. But what would have happened if she had fought her feelings is she just would have perpetuated her own suffering. When we surrender to the truth of how we feel, I love this person. I have feelings for this person. There's something working through you. There's something alchemizing. There's something transforming. There's something that's really actually meant to be birthed from you. And maybe you're meant to be together. Maybe you're not. We don't know. But what we do is we go to this place of like needing to figure it out or making it about our worth. And a lot of that is that unconscious belief that a woman needs a man or else she'll die. And so many women then fall into relationships that they think are quote unquote safe. And they're like, oh, I feel safe with him. But do you want to fuck him? Like, really? Or do you just feel safe? Like, are you forcing yourself in bed? Are you still having issues orgasming? And that might be a different thing. So, just there are many different reasons for things. Are you making excuses around having sex? Are you getting headaches? Are you pushing away? Is there intimacy stuff? Like, there's multitudes of layers here. But when you choose just the safe guy because he makes you feel safe, that's because you're looking for a dad. It's not actually a divine cosmic partner who's going to catalyze you into your next level. And sometimes those people are just meant to catalyze you, or you're meant to catalyze them. Sometimes you're meant to catalyze each other and be together. And when you're meant to be together, you're still going to get wet for them. You won't even be able to control it. But if you're looking for a daddy or someone to take care of you or someone who just does all the safe things or all the green flag things, you're actually bypassing very real lessons in your life because you're feeding into unconsciously probably this narrative of I shouldn't feel for someone who treats me shitty. Someone treating you a certain way doesn't always have anything to do with how you actually feel about them. Now, of course, we have to tease apart the is this about my worth? Am I accepting this behavior because I'm telling myself I'm not worthy? I don't actually believe in unworthiness. I think that we are just seeking safety. and we tell the story of unworthiness because that is an easy story to tell rather than looking at the patterns of the ways you're holding on for safety, of the stories, the narratives you're telling for safety, of making yourself stuck and small for safety. Because anybody who's connected to the vast wisdom of their soul does not feel unworthy because you are infinitely worthy and you always have been. But when you're telling the story that you don't feel worthy, or you're telling the story that you're so special, that is an inflated ego that underneath that, I'm going to find a bunch of deflated ego. And so we have to develop a sense of self so that you know you're infinitely worthy and you feel safe to release the patterns of seeking safety. And it feels safer to judge yourself for loving someone who can't show up, because sitting with the pain of loving someone who can't show up takes next level personal power. And trust me, I know I've had to do it. I'm currently doing it actually. Can you keep your heart open even then? Can you love yourself even in those dark moments? Can you love all the dark, ugly parts of yourself? Can you love all the dark, ugly parts of someone else? Because if you are trying to section off someone and their darkness, you don't actually love that person in his wholeness. Because we all have dark, ugly parts. We all have shameful parts. We all have parts of ourselves that we don't like to look at. And so you need a mirror and someone to show them to you. And sometimes that mirror shows up as a divine counterpart. And then you are mirroring each other and you're like, ah, fuck, I have to look at this stuff. And you can either fight it and perpetuate suffering. And fighting it would be blaming him, making him wrong, making him not worthy, all of those bullshit stories that we tell. That is blaming him. Or you could go, what is this mirroring for me? What am I meant to alchemize or transform through this connection? Because if you feel that drawn to someone, whether it's attachment or not, there's something to learn there. There's something to look at there. There is a deep connection that is asking for your attention so that you can transmute lessons. And when you try to avoid that by shooting on yourself or shooting on him or pretending you don't care or acting like you don't have feelings or pedestaling yourself and marrying the safe guy, it will come out later. I promise you. Mark my motherfucking words right now. It will come out later. That's the nature of being a spiritual being. You don't get to hide from your lessons. You can avoid them for a while. They will eventually come and kick you in the ass because you're meant to transform. And this narrative of shaming women who love men who can't show up is old and it's tired. And sweet girls, sweet women, sweet, beautiful, powerful women, you are meant to learn to hold unconditional love like you are wielding the most beautiful magic in the world, because that's what it is. And your love can transform worlds. When you're connected to true, embodied, divine cosmic love, you can literally transform worlds. There are so few people who are connected to that. And when a woman is not connected to her love, she's destroying everything in her path, maybe unconsciously. You might not know you are, but it's these sneaky, subtle, negative tendrils, right? These criticisms, these judgments, these nagging, these shooting on yourself or on someone else, these like, I'm too good for a man. Like, there's so much happening in the dating world right now around like, well, women are just don't need men for survival anymore, so we're just single. We have to address our latent rage. And we have to address the ways that we don't know how to hold a man to his divinity so that men actually show up. Are you fucking men before you're ready? Are you giving in because you think you should? Are you attaching on when you don't really know, when you know you should be letting go? Are you allowing his behavior for a certain period of time and then you're pissed when it doesn't turn out the way you want it to? Are you sneakily or subtly seeking saving internally because you haven't attuned effectively to your inner child? Are you marrying the safe guy and then feeling resentful and reading the high fae daddy books and wishing that you had a high fae daddy? Because if that's happening, you have some darkness of your own to tend to, and you have some judgments to process, and you definitely have some power to embody. I love those books. I don't sit around and fantasize about those men because I know divine cosmic love and I know what it really feels like and I've embodied it and I hold myself and men to their divinity. Doesn't mean those books aren't amazing. And the most amazing thing about them is how they help women embody their power. That is the most amazing thing about them. Are you judgmental towards men? Are you thinking men need to show up, but not looking at the ways that you are not giving them the space to do so? And by giving them the space to do so, this is like a whole other YouTube video, is are you in receivership and are you leading with your energetic vibration? Because sometimes leading with your energetic vibration means surrendering and letting him lead. This is such nuanced stuff. There are so many dimensions within this. Women have a lot of work to do here. And so focusing on the ways men aren't showing up and focusing on what men need to do is an avoidance of the deep internal work women need to do to stop shaming themselves for loving men who can't show up. Because there is beautiful alchemy in loving a man who can't show up. And it's going to be individual for each one of us. But when you can actually hold that love with divine feminine power, then you transmute and he transmutes, and what is meant to happen for the highest good for all involved happens. And you're not rushing, judging, criticizing, berating, shaming yourself or others. And you have the full surrender to trust that it is all happening for you. So if you can remember that women being shamed for loving men who can't show up is based on survival, and you can instead do the work to embody divine cosmic unconditional love and to hold yourself and men in their divinity, we will see radical shifts in our world. I have so much more to say about this. If this calls to you and you want to dive deeper, the ROK Way Mystery School is the place to be. It's a 6-month alchemical mystery school for self-mastery, mastering energetics, and embodying your divine feminine power. And we will absolutely be working on how you hold yourself to your divinity, how you hold your feelings of love without making yourself wrong, and how to hold men for their divinity. There is only one spot left. Are you going to be the magical missing puzzle piece in this beautiful 6-month journey in sacred sisterhood to embody your divine feminine power? And when you're in it, you receive my 6 and 12-month or 12-month group mentorship program, The Portal, which you'll get it for 6 months while you're in the mystery school. The Portal is a beautiful place to land. So if you're looking for something a little lower level investment, a little lower level support, the Portal has so much support for the investment. It's 3 monthly calls, it's a beautiful community. It's daily Telegram riffs, Monday through Friday for me, drop the questions channel, like all access to all of my programs except for a couple of the high level ones. The mystery school and the composer are not included in that. Like when you join the mystery school, you receive the portal. If you just want to be in the portal, it is such a magical place to be. So let me know if either of these are calling to you, or if you have any questions about this topic, because I could go into this literally all day. It is one of my zones of genius, and it is my true belief that when women embody their divine feminine power and unconditional love in this way, we transform worlds in the most magical and beautiful of ways.